Okay, the impact of anxiety on an academic performance. How anxiety impacts a student's life is where students don't do well anymore because they're on a test and what they studied, they blank out all of a sudden. Or when they do assignments, they don't do well because of their poor time management skills or their stress from the family or teachers or friends. So anxiety plays a huge part in students' academic achievements in the future. Um, but this is also from Grooms and Ender on the website for my citation. Um, so, how it emotionally affects them. Anxiety often leads to emotional challenges such as depression, worry, stress, um, which this also mostly affects first year students for when they're new. This also goes for medical students um, for when they have clinicals, things like that, when they're new. It mostly affects them due to the stress of needing to take care of someone right after they get into the clinicals and from the school. Um, but yeah, emotional challenges such as depression, um, and then they stress over their academic performance that determines their future. I could use even myself for an example. I used to stress over tests and assignments for when I used to first start school as well. But due to adapting over time, I managed to start thinking clearly, doing better, um, having an effective schedule. Um, but students who have the anxiety sometimes need to learn or find ways to talk about it or set up an effective study schedule, and the teacher could make accommodations to that particular student. um, but yes, and then success that contributes to anxiety. um, so their measurement on anxiety is determined by the STI inventory. So what the STI is, or STAI, is where it's a test with 40 questions. Um, they need to um, they need to have a general basic understanding. It's nothing hard. It's just showing the academic advisors to show them like where they are, how the assignments and how everything they're doing is on that student. They're making sure like it's not too much work or just understanding where that student or students are, if they need to go over um, a better way to do things, maybe even push out assignments if they need to, unless if things are good right now. So it just all determines. Um, but it shows the school a clear link of like that anxiety level um, in their grades. So factors influencing performance. Academic performance is influenced by test anxiety, um, but this could also go for presenting, like how we are now, um, presenting assignments. But how assignments play a part is when students are doing it last minute, and then there's that stress and overthinking. Um, so that's how I believe that factor mostly plays out. Um, but test anxiety, da da da. Academic competence and time management skills are what play a factor along with the family. So there are some families that are hard on their sons or daughters just because they want to give them a successful future and they want to make sure that they're working towards that. So sometimes families are a little harder on others or on their um, daughters or sons due to that, and that son or daughter, they have more stress, and then they have the fear of failing, and they're focusing more on their future, so everything um, everything that they take matters, and it does, but that makes them think like it's the end of the world if they fail. So that's why some families just need to try to ease up a little bit, or the teacher could um, accommodate to that student and like give them extra materials, or if they need a quiet place to be outside. Um, but that is another form of anxiety. With anxiety groups, there's a high, medium, and low. Anxiety for high, which is where if a student has high anxiety, um, their memory, like everything they learn, their memory span isn't as good because they're due to them stressing. It makes them memorize it but not think about it when the test pops up. It's like taking a test and then you go mind blank. Um, but the high, medium, low are basically different ways on how it affects the student. Um, but that also contributes to different forms. And let's see here. But yes, and then so overall, managing anxiety. So there's different ways to manage it. You can even go to a doctor to know like they can prescribe you something, or they could even guide you on different ways to relieve stress. And like there's different ways now, like a fidget spinner, something to hold. There's different ways to relieve your stress where students don't need to freak out as much. Um, or the doctor could also tell or give a note saying to the teacher, hey, the student can't be in the same class. They need their own room, their own time to complete the test. Um, so yes, a doctor or someone along the lines could play a huge part in lowering the anxiety levels and stress. Um, but with it's called the STAI. The reasons why they take that is because they want to see how they can improve, because schools don't want to make their students' lives hard. They don't want them to be overly stressed and not do good. So therefore, they're taking that test to understand the basic of where they are now. Um, and the STAI is from a source named Sahan. Um, but yes, overall, their schools, families, there's strategies that they're gonna be overcoming what ways for students to improve by not stressing so much. Mm. And yeah, I think that is it. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Leads to emotional challenges such as depression. Evidence. Yeah, I think I went over everything. Um, thank you.